Bind us together, Lord, bind us together with cords that cannot be broken. Bind us together, Lord, bind us together, Lord, bind us together with love. There is only one God. There is only one King. There is only one body. That is why we can sing. Bind us together, Lord, bind us together with cords that cannot be broken. Bind us together, Lord, bind us together, Lord, bind us together with love. A common love for each other, a common gift to the Savior, a common bond, holding us to the Lord, a common strength when we're weary, a common hope for tomorrow, a common joy in the truth of God's Word.
Good evening. We're going to try our best to stay connected during these really awkward times. We can't gather together in a large group, but we can still be the church, and we're going to do our best. It's funny how things change, isn't it? Just a couple months ago, if you would have told us that all of this would be happening, we would have laughed. We would have said, that's ridiculous. There's no way any of that's happening. But here we are. Most of us trying to stay in as much as we possibly can. A lot of us panic buying toilet paper and just trying our best not to go crazy in general. During these really weird times, I'm reminded of a verse in Romans chapter 8. Really well known. It's one you're very familiar with, but I think it's so important right now. It's Romans chapter 8, verse 28. It says, "And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose." Paul says that if we love God, all things in this life are going to work toward good. Not everything's going to be good, but everything will work toward good. They will work toward God's purposes. Really great words, encouraging words, but maybe you're sitting there thinking right now, well, how in the world does that apply today? With all this craziness going on, how is good coming from that? We're going crazy, people are scared, they're nervous, they're worried. Some people are really seriously ill over this. How can any of that be good? Well, I think about how things were just a month or two ago. Think about how we were spending our lives, what kind of things occupied our time so much. A lot of us spent so much time watching the TV, watching sports, or taking our kids to ball games, to practices. It dominated our lives to the point where I would say for many of us, it was getting close to saying that we were worshiping sports. We were worshiping events and athletes. But all that's gone now, right? There are no more sporting events. We can't gather together in those crowds. We spent so much time on entertainment before that, watching movies, things like that, but now we're not allowed in movie theaters for a while. So many of us spent so much time in restaurants. It's almost like we worship food, but now we can only do drive-through. All these things have been taken away from us so quickly. And you know what we've realized? Life still goes on. No, maybe things are a little more boring now. Maybe we wish that wasn't the case. But without the sports, without the movies, without fast food and all that kind of stuff, we're still surviving. We're making it one day at a time. We're still alive. But what I find interesting is, after all those things have been taken away, and even after we can't gather together as a church, here you are watching this short little devotional message on a Wednesday night. I'm guessing that many of you will be gathered around your computer screen Sunday and maybe watching our video service or maybe watching someone else's live stream of a worship. Why? Why do you do those things when everything else has been taken away from you? Well, maybe it's because all of this is helping us realize just how important God, His church, and worship are to us. Whenever it's taken away from us, maybe we understand just how much we need this in our lives. You know, this is going to be over eventually, hopefully sooner rather than later. And when it is, whenever we can gather back together as a church, whenever life goes back on as normal again, I hope we remember this lesson. I hope you remember just how important church was to you whenever you couldn't have it the way you used to. Whenever you couldn't be with your church family, remember how much you missed it. Let's make sure we don't take this for granted anymore. Okay? Let's make this important to us from now going forward. I hope you have a really good week from now on. I hope that this message has been somewhat of a blessing to you, and I really can't wait to see you again, hopefully sooner rather than later.